Welcome to Out Motorsports, channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and this is the 2022 Mazda MX-5 Miata Club. You'll note I am squatting inside the loading dock of an ice cream warehouse because it is raining a lot. We have a lot of storms passing through, but we're here for content as always, and I'm a little bit of a princess that doesn't want to get wet because I will melt. So let's talk about what's new with the 2022 Miata. This is not the first model year for this ND2 generation, of course, but Mazda did do something new for 2022. So we'll talk about what's new and what is on this one versus some of the other ND2 Miatas that we have driven. So with all that, let's get into it. What is new for 2022? Well, Mazda has some new technology they call Kinematic Posture Control, which probably means nothing to a lot of you, but it's very interesting on a technical level. If I had glasses, I would push them up my nose right now. Kinematic Posture Control basically is a way to reduce body roll in the car without making the ride any stiffer. It is some electronic trickery that uses the anti-lock brake system to drag the inside rear wheel as you go through what Mazda calls a high G turn. So what that does is it helps set the car, it helps make the car pivot, and it keeps that body roll lower. From what I understand with suspension geometry, which to be fair is minimal, as the car wants to rotate, the wheels want to go up and down as well as front to back, and this helps pull it all downward and rearward just a touch, just enough to keep that body roll in check and help you rotate through a corner. Now, Mazda says this is a really great thing that both retains the good ride quality that these cars are known for. They're kind of on the soft side, which is actually a good thing. It makes them comfortable in the city, but it also lets it, lose some of that body roll, help it be just a little sharper and a little flatter everywhere, which, again, some body roll is kind of a Miata hallmark back to the days of the NA that I had when I was in college. You might ask, why doesn't Mazda just put bigger anti-roll bars on this car, or sway bars as some of us call them? The answer is because if you do that, you make the ride kind of stiff. So Mazda wants to keep it riding the same as it always has, but just add a little bit more sharpness to the car. Now, as far as this one that you see here getting rained on fairly heavily right now, this is a MX-5 Miata Club, which is the middle trim of the three that Mazda offers in the soft top lineup of the MX-5 Miata. And the Club is the most sport-oriented, it's the spiciest, despite this one actually just being painted polymetal gray, which is not really a spicy color. But this is the one that you're gonna buy if you are, focused on the driving experience and not necessarily extra frills. So the Club gets you a standard front strut tower brace, it gets you a standard limited slip diff, and it gets you standard Bilstein dampers. So all great things. You also get those on the Grand Touring if you want all of that, plus leather seats and a Bose sound system and all that good stuff. But this one's a little more basic. Now this one also has the Brembo BBS Recaro package. I have to count while I do that because I never remember the order it goes in, but what you get there are some 17-inch BBS wheels. You can see those there. You get red painted brake calipers. The front calipers are Brembos that are a little bit upsized. You get an adorable little body kit on it, some little aero bits, and then you get a set of Recaro seats that are kind of a black cloth material, almost a faux suede Alcantara sort of deal, and they are heated. So that's what you get with that package. That package adds a little over $4,000 to the price, but we'll talk about why I think it might be worth it in just a second. Now, other than that, this is the same as every other 2022 Miata, and Mazda has done nothing else to it for the sake of performance for 2022 versus an outgoing ND2. So that's to say it's the same 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder making a little over 180 horsepower and a little over 150 pound-feet of torque. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but these cars don't weigh much either. They're in the 23 to 2,400 pound range, so nice and lightweight. Your transmission choices are a 6-speed manual transmission that is standard, or a 6-speed torque converter automatic that is not offered on the Club model, but is offered on the other trims. So this being a Club, of course, it is the preferred, wonderful 6-speed manual. Now, I'm a little tired of crouching. I have terrible knees, so let's go ahead and get on the road in the dry, because I filmed that first, and let's see how this Kinematic Body Control actually works in the real world on a nice twisty road, and talk about how the 2022 Mazda MX-5 Miata still is to drive despite no real changes beyond Kinematic Body Control for the 2022 model year. Oh my God, oof, oh boy, oh wow, okay. All right, so the 2022 Mazda Miata Club with BBS Recaro, Brembo package, and Kinematic Posture Control. Let's talk about it. So Kinematic Posture Control is very fascinating to me. You know, it drags the inside rear wheel, like I was saying. It does not exert a ton of braking force on the brakes. Mazda did an interview over email with another outlet, and they said that the most force it will exert is 45 PSI on that caliper. So that's far less. They said if you were using torque vectoring with the brakes, that would be 450 PSI, so substantially less. And you know, what that means is this is something that's imperceptible. You don't feel it when you're hustling through some corners here. And I always like the body roll in Miatas, but this definitely adds an element of flatness to it. You don't feel it working. The car just rotates. Now what's interesting, I don't know if you can tell there, I think it also makes this car a touch more prone to oversteer. Just a touch. I have had a couple instances off camera where I have felt like the rear wanted to get a little more playful than I'm used to the rear being in an ND2 Miata. I think Miatas in general are pretty predictable, pretty controllable, and playful. They are definitely playful cars, and with the short wheelbase, you have to watch out because it will bite you. It wants to bite you, but you know, it's approachable, it's fun, and you can just rip on it, and it just enjoys what it's doing. Oh, please don't, Range Rover, really? Ugh. All right, well, you get the point. You can hustle this thing. It feels a little bit flatter than it could be otherwise, and Kinematic Posture Control is basically unobtrusive. So that is all fine and good. I do think it makes the car, like I said, a little more prone to oversteer, but controllably so. The stability control is also very good. So that's that. That's all really impressive. Now, as far as the Brembo BBS Recaro package, I like the seats in this car for what they are. I don't fit in ND2 Miatas. I don't fit in any Miata really, despite owning one for like 6 years, because I'm too tall. I'm 6'1", and the way my body's proportioned, I just don't fit that well in them to where I am that comfortable long term. But these seats, I think, are your best shot at fitting in the car if you're tall. I think they're the most sculpted. They have a little bit of adjustability on the thigh support area, which is really nice. And they're pretty comfy. They've got nice bolstering on the sides, so you know, with these tighter roads, I'm feeling actually pretty nicely strapped in. The Brembos feel good. I think regular Miata brakes feel fine. And then the BBS wheels, if they're your cup of tea, great. I don't like black wheels, so it kind of is what it is. But it's a nice package. I think the benefit is really for the seats over anything else. And then as far as the rest of the car, you know, these are not spring chickens anymore. The ND is getting a little up there in age, but I still think it's a ton of fun. I think the steering is really great. I think the chassis overall, like I said, is playful, communicative. This just brings a smile to your face no matter what you're doing, and it's fun, low limits driving, which is the whole point. You know, 181 horsepower. It's manic, it's frantic, it's chaotic, and you're doing 45, 50, 55 miles an hour. There is such an element of fun to that a lot of modern sports cars just lose because they make a ton of power. Granted, they're you know, heavier too, but whatever. I think this is just a riot of a car to drive, and very, very enjoyable. It's just so good. I mean, where else can you do that? That was like 7,600 RPM through 2 gears, and we're doing 60 miles an hour. That's just, where else will you get that? As far as everything else going on in here, the belt line is low, love it. You can hang your arm out the window and look like a hot girl driving around town. I think the ride in the city is pretty good for what it is. The interior overall, does it feel a little dated? Sure. It's pretty basic, which I love. CarPlay is wireless, which is really sweet. It's a little slow to connect, which is not, but it's fine. The sound system in here is fine. This one does not have Bose, I don't believe, but it's fine. It's all good. Does not have automatic headlights. I don't care. I remember to turn them on myself, unlike all those Nissan Rogue drivers we all see. Everything's good. It's just such a fun, basic, delightful little car to blast around in. and I'm on this little stretch of road. It's like 3 roads I can take that make a little U. I could run this until I ran the car out of gas and not be bored. Just going back and forth and back and forth and left and right and up and down. And it's just, you know, the car is so engaging the whole time. It's got 205mm tires on it because you don't need bigger tires. Who cares? It's all just fun and fine. And, you know, I know Mazda will eventually do a next generation of Miata. Well, I hope. No comments on, you know, future products, but I hope whatever they do with whatever new drivetrain, they can keep it as fun and engaging as this car is, because I don't think there's a bad Miata among the bunch. This is by far the best one to me. And this just... oh, there we go. All right, that feels flatter than it could be. I see you, Kinematic. See you working. You know, no real understeer, no oversteer there because I was being smart. My goodness, it's just so fun and it's just so easy. All right, and that is it for this review in mixed weather of the 2022 Mazda MX-5 Miata with new for 2022 Kinematic Body Control and the Brembo BBS Recaro package. Thank you so much for coming along. Apologies for the goofy weather. I thankfully found an umbrella for the time being, so unless I get struck by lightning, all is well. In the meantime, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe right here on YouTube. You can give us a follow on other socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Out Motorsports. And if you'd like to connect with other LGBT automotive enthusiasts and motorsports competitors, please head over at outmotorsports.com. We have a whole community there, both virtual and in person with some events, and we would love to have you join us in some or all of that capacity. Until next time, please stay safe, be well, stay dry if you need to, and we'll see you next time.